From Page Africa Live, I'm Obadiah Johnson. I'm fortunate to meet with presidential aspirant, Dr. Telford Ammons. He's the political leader and vision bearer of the proposed Greater Action Party of Liberia. Dr. Ammons, welcome to Front Page Africa.
Thank you very much, Obadiah.
I'm glad to meet you for the first time.
Thank you. Likewise.
All right, tell us who is Dr. Ammons? You want to lead Liberians, and the public would like to know you better.
Thank you for asking me that question. I am Dr. Telver E.K. Evans, born in the city of Monrovia on Randall Street, and I am the first of 5 children of Iger Ammons and Elita Ammons. I went to Betterment High School over here. I attended United Methodist Church and the St. Peter Lutheran Church. And as members of those congregations, I fully participated with the Liberian Society. That was a big thing then, to be a member of a church. However, at high school, I was fortunate to go to the United States as an exchange student and came back as a returnee and invited to the executive mansion by President William R. Talbot Jr. and said to us, as he spoke, I believe that the people, the children of that went on the exchange were supposed to learn about culture and return and teach us about what they have learned over there. So today, I am fortunate to say, with all the things that the Liberian people have endured, with all the things that we have gone through, I'm fortunate to say at this particular time that I too would like to be able to lead the Liberian people, because Liberia has been good to me. Not to lay aside what my host country has done for me, the United States of America, because they have helped in my fundamental years in establishing who I am. And so therefore I want to bring back all that I've learned. I'm sure the American people will be happy and the Liberian people will be happy as I lead them in the Ammons administration.
Tell us, were you one of those that was opportune to travel to the United States to obtain a scholarship? Were you sponsored by the government, the previous Liberian government, to go abroad?
No, the Liberian government was instrumental in opening opportunities for these things to happen, but my parents were the one who put up the money. All of the parents put up the money for the children to go abroad.
Tell us a little bit about your level of education.
Well, I have a BA degree in accounting and business. I have a master's degree in business and administration, management. I have a degree that I have received from my dissertation on the doctorate level. So I have a doctorate degree also.
So it implies that it was conferred on you.
Well,
am I right?
A conferred degree is a little bit different than the one that is written with a dissertation, because the one with a dissertation tells about your experiences, and you put that in writing and present it.
Are you a pastor?
Yes, I am.
From the pulpit into politics, how do you feel?
Well, I feel blessed that a person that has come from the pulpit has certain amount of training and study, so that they will understand the plights of people from the diversity of the nation. And so when you go to execute different policies, you have to take in consideration the ZOCOs and the educators and the non-educated people, the people that are healthy and unhealthy, the people that are well-trained and not trained. All of those things have meaning, and to a pastor that it comes with compassion.
Liberia, a country comprising of a little over 5 million people, too many political parties, too many persons wanting to be president in this small nation. The proposed Greater Action Party of Liberia is another. Why do you want to be president?
Well, the thing about it is this, is that I have more years behind me than there are ahead of me. I could have been ran for senator or representative, but I think at my age and stage, and with the amount of knowledge that I have, I think I need to contribute what I know right now to the Liberian people. If I do this right now and manage the nation correctly, then I would have left a legacy to say that someone endeavored to put Liberia back on the map. You have to remember also this, is that the Liberian nation had been in the forefront of world issues in the past under President Tuckman and President Talbert. And so we were the breadbasket of Africa at one time, where people used to come to this country and ask for advice and money to set a government. We are the oldest republic in the continent of Africa, and yet at this present time, we have become the poorest. As a matter of fact, it is even shameful rather to say that we have become beggars.
What are those negative verses that you think made Liberia to be one of the poorest in Africa?
Bad management has contributed to the plight of the Liberian people. There are other circumstances, but this is not a time to point finger at anyone in particular. Okay? If a government or any government coming to power needs to understand that they will go through some changes, some ups and downs. They have their strengths and their weaknesses. But at the same token is that if we have managers that do not take into consideration the plight of the Liberian people and have the Liberian people to benefit from the wise decisions that are made, Liberia will continue to fall backwards. And so with my intent, with the question that you asked, why do I want to become president, it wasn't a thing that I woke up one day and said I want to become president, but because of the extenuating circumstances regarding the nation and wanting to play a pivotal role in making sure that some of the things that we have enjoyed abroad or that the Liberian people could be enjoying right now, I think if we work together, we can make it better together.
What makes you think that you are the best person to change the narratives?
Well, I would never consider myself the best person because my mother had taught me, gave me an example. She said, son, look at your hands. Are all your fingers even? No. There will always be greater and lesser people than each and every one of us. But our task as we live on this earth is to do the best that we can for our people or for the place in which you were born and your neighbor's strength has been buried, so that when you wake up one day or the generation that's going to come after us will begin to say the people that were before us did something great for us, and we can stand on their shoulders and move forward.
What are your plans for Liberia and its citizens when you have ascended to the Liberian presidency?
The first thing I want to do is bring about electricity. No nation can strive without electricity. The nation must be taken out of darkness and brought into light. I like a scripture that says the people that dwell in darkness, may not know where they're supposed to be going, because the light is the one that reveals what needs to happen. And so what happens is this, is that Liberia is living in darkness. Listen to me, I will repeat. Liberia is living in darkness. Not only the lack of electricity, but the lack of education, the lack of agriculture, the lack of manufacturers, the lack of health. All of these contributing factors contribute to a downfall or a spiraling fall of a society. I think together, all of us, whether you're in power, out of power, ruling or not ruling, together we can make this country better than what it is. And we will not point finger at anyone, because no one in particular is responsible for anything.
Apart from electricity, are there other plans?
Absolutely. Again, as I said, with electricity, when we bring about electricity, we want to bring job creation. Job creation is a very essential portion of a growing economy. We want to be able to hire 20,000 people per month. That's 240,000 people per year. If we stay on that trajectory, we'll be at 2.4 million people after 10 years. Even that is too small, because in 10 to 15 years from now, Liberia will have about 10 million people. If we cannot feed 5 million people today, how then will we feed 10 million people in the next 10 to 12 or 15 years? So we want to make sure that job creation is very important and essential. But along with that is that we want also to be allow people to be educated. So whenever you work in Ammons government, you will simultaneously be receiving education. Therefore, I would decrease the amount of time on the job, and the difference would be for you to go to school, so that we will raise the quotient of education in Liberia to a higher mark than what it is.
I take you back to recent assertions you made when you appeared on a local radio talk show in Monrovia, proposing or vying to ensure that you provide electricity to all households, including huts across Liberia. This appears to be a huge tax to Liberia and its citizens, as evidenced by the shortcut energy sector we currently have in our country. How will you go about galvanizing the necessary resources to ensure that that happens?
Well, the first thing is that whenever you give people jobs, they're going to have money. When they have money, they will be able to pay the electricity, or pay for electricity, or pay the electric bills. So what I am going to do is to make sure that electricity will be an essential part of our administration, so that electricity will be provided. I want electricity, or lack thereof, never to be an issue anymore in Liberia. Liberia must have electricity no matter what. And yes, it is true that we want to electrify homes and huts. And the reason for that is because we want so that mosquito will no longer bite people if people put fans and air conditioners in their homes, simply because they have electricity. Also, notwithstanding, we can also make air conditioners available for those who want to purchase them. We can make them in abundance so that they will be able to put them in their homes simply because they have electricity, so that they won't have to go to the hospital to get treated for malaria.
Liberia remains an age-old country with abundance of resources, but yet still the nation and its people continue to suffer as a result of extreme poverty and other negative vices. How do you intend to combat against corruption in an Ammons government?
Well, the first thing is that you must hire people that are good managers. As I said before, good managers contribute to an increase in a well-managed economy. Now, in a well-managed economy, we want to do away with bribery. Bribery is the downfall or the son of decadence, which means that if I bribe someone and that person went around the system, the government loses money, or someone else will lose money because of that bribe. So if we put down the bribery and do not keep that consistent for people to get bribes because of a certain amount of work they do. If we alleviated that, government would grow, the Liberian society would grow. And let me say, for example, anyone who will take advantage of the people that are in blue, the police. I mean, we have come to the place where we disrespect our police officers. In an Ammons government, if you disrespect the police officer, you will go to jail. But likewise, if the police officer disrespect a citizen, that person will go to jail also. They will be disrobed and dismissed if they were to take bribe. Bribe is not the thing that grows the economy, but we're going to make damn sure that police officers are well paid in the Ammons government.
Police officers are well paid in an Ammons government, according to the political leader of the GAPL, one of Liberia's newest proposed political institutions operating in the country. Take you back to corruption. The adequate management of public funds at all levels remains a challenge. How will you go about ensuring that monies allocated to governmental institutions or agencies are used for the purpose intended?
Well, let me first of all say that we need more transparency and accountability. But let's look at the total economy, for example. Revenue is created due to the fact that we produce certain items in the economy. Okay, certain things, including travel, various agricultural products that contributes to the revenue of government, and also taxation on these various types of products or services and or businesses. When those types of money come in, it is referred to as revenue for government, because government has to have taxation, for example, in order to run effectively and efficiently. Now let's look at the efficiency portion of it. A government that isn't efficient brings about chaos. But if we learn about how to effectively run a government, we will create efficiency. Efficiency with transparency, efficiency with accountability, efficiency without bribery, so that the people will begin to see where their money is going. So now when we go ahead and get these money in, and a person who is responsible for taking in certain amount of money, be a cabinet minister or anyone else, we're going to make sure that that person is accountable for the amount of money that they take in. Because you cannot be taking in $10 million and report in 5. So we'll audit you. Likewise, we'll audit anyone that is responsible for making sure that they're overseeing large portion of the economy that has to deal with money. I can bet you that the same system that perpetrates bribery or deficiency in accountability could also be the same system, if corrected and taking out the loopholes, can be as effective and as efficient as ever before. And the same people who were trying to make money could make money even better than they did before through different types of operations that we're going to carry through, partnerships and stakeholdership in the economy through privatization. They can make the same amount of money or even better. But we must put aside bribery or mismanagement or misallocation of funds and revenue taken in by government, so that the mass of the people can enjoy it and benefit from the money that comes in. Liberian people owns everything in this nation. Everything is owned by the Liberian taxpayer. but the taxpayer must be able to enjoy the resources that God has given to us in this nation.
Do you think Liberians are not equitably benefiting from the wealth or resources?
It's a resounding no. The Liberians are not benefiting from the resources of Liberia. They must be willing, they must be able to benefit even more through job creation, through incentives, through education, and through health, so that the Liberian people will begin to enjoy the endowment that God has given to us in this nation. And so if we have good managers, Liberians will no longer suffer.
Back to this question, what do you think that Liberia and its citizens have not benefited from the country's resources over the years?
Because we have had poor managers the third time, that if we have good managers, I'm not saying that managers were inadequate or wrong, but what I am saying is that if managers that were placed in positions and do not know how to carry out their responsibilities, the nation suffered. We must begin to choose leaders that are capable of managing the economy so that the majority of people will enjoy the fruits of the nation, the productivity of the nation, and so that all of us would not be benefited equally, but there will be equity in the amount of things that we can do and receive. In other words, if a person has a high school degree, isn't going to make the same amount of money that a person with a master's degree is going to make. So there will be equitability on each level. But again, we need accountability.
The Liberian economy needs resuscitation. What is your economic viability plan or plans for Liberia and its citizens?
Liberia needs more than a resuscitation. It needs an infusion of new money. We want to be asking the international community to help us out. Man like Warren Buffett, I want to be asking him personally for money to help the Liberian economy. I'm going to be asking Ross Perot Jr. To bring money. I'm going to be asking Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys to help us to bring new money into the nation of Liberia. That new infusion of cash is going to help us to move the nation forward.
In recent times, we heard about most presidential aspirants and others breaking of having the international contacts to ensure that Liberia and its citizens are alleviated from the barrage of challenges. What are those international connections you think you can move to ensure that Liberia and Liberians benefit?
I mean, three of them, three people who are multi-billionaires in the United States: Ross Perot Jr., Warren Buffett, and Jerry Jones. There are others. But the fact of the matter is
what's your connection to them?
My connection is personal and private. But the fact of the matter is this, is that I would not go into how we got connected. However, we can still go in and try to solicit them based upon what I have already, the connection that I've already built with them. But that doesn't mean that we stop there with those three persons. We must always be open to new ideas, better relationships, various governments, various entrepreneurs, so that we can get the most out of what is it that we need to do. The fact of the matter is this: just because I knew Barack Obama on the south side of Chicago, who offered me a job as a young man to work for him, and we became friends, doesn't mean that I can go to him right now and say, Mr. Obama, give me some money. No, it doesn't work that way. How it does work is that I can solicit Mr. Obama to help the Liberian people in various ways, meaning that he might have connections that I'm unaware of, and maybe drive some people into our arena.
You were offered a job at the Obama's administration?
No, I was not offered a job at the Obama administration. I was offered a job by the Obama the community organization in the South.
So you're a friend to the ex-United States president?
I hope that I am, and I would like to be known as a friend of former President Obama.
Okay, let's take you to the health sector. The dispensation of adequate healthcare delivery in Liberia remains a challenge. What will an Ammons government do to ensure that Liberians benefit from adequate healthcare delivery?
As I said before, we have electricity, and we have lack of malaria, or decreasing the malaria population because we have air conditions and what have you in our homes. Then the health crisis in Liberia will somewhat subside, but that's not all of it, because there are other areas of health issues that we need to tackle. Right now we're going with the COVID-19. Now, what we need to also understand is this: we need to be proactive as far as health is concerned. Rather than waiting, until we get sick, we can go to the doctor while we are well to make sure that we are always healthy people, because a healthy society is a society that is going to be productive. So health is an important portion of what an Ammons government is going to be all about.
Health workers or authorities reportedly diverting medical supplies from public health institutions to their own private institutions. It's becoming the order of the day in Liberia. How do you intend to combat against this?
Let me say this to the Liberian people. If I found out that the money the taxpayer have allocated for health or supplies in Liberia, and people are diverting them into their own private account, homes and clinics, you will go to jail. I will make darn sure that you go to jail for stealing from the Liberian people. No longer will we be able to put up with mismanagement of that kind, because why? The Liberian people deserve better.
Insecurity is said to be on an increase in Liberia, as evidenced by mysterious deaths and ritualistic killings in the country in recent time. What are your plans for a viable security sector?
Well, that is a big portion of any society to tackle. The reason why we have ritualistic killings is because Liberian people do not understand that if you work hard and you do what is necessary, you don't need to go and make any type of sacrificial offering. Because the bottom line is this: the power of God is greater than the power of Satan. And if you go out and decide that you want to serve Satan rather than God, it is your prerogative to do that. However, we cannot continue to do these type of things and give bodies and kill people and take body parts and by mutilating people so that they will be able to do realistic worship and sacrifices. But let me point this out also. There is a situation where parts are being harvested from people for other purposes to help those who are alive and need body parts to continue to live, versus those who are dying and have no hope of living, and their parts can be harvested. But in that type of a situation, there must be laws regarding that situation to happen. You can't take a person and cut their tongue or their private parts or their heart or their liver and sell it. There must be laws to govern those things, when and how those things are to take place, so that the people that are doing it will be like considered a hospital, who knows that the person is about ready to die and there's no hope of being alive, can harvest those parts and transfer it to those that might be in need. And if the benefit is done in such a way that is not for sale, those are the types of things that we have to look into. But until then, we have to research and make sure that the conclusion we come to is going to be beneficial to all.
In recent times, there have been mounting calls from Liberians for the establishment of a war and economic crimes court in the country. Where do you stay on this?
Well, I would say the Liberian people have spoken. They said in the majority that the World Crime Court must come. I will support a World Crime Court if it benefits the Liberian people justifiably. If not, then we have to look into why it isn't. And we must look into why things happened. And when we find out why they did, then, like the Bible says, we will turn our war tools into pruning hooks and steady war no more. We need to be sure that we do not go to war to kill our brothers and sisters, simply to bring in the arm of justice against those who perpetrated injustice against their brothers and sisters. So I need to understand, why is it that we had to go through this transition? And of course, when the court comes in and those people are held for and accounted for what they were supposed to, why they did what they did, then they must be punishable.
The guns are silent in Liberia, but they still exist poverty and extreme hardship. How are you good about addressing poverty among vast majority of Liberians?
We asked two questions: poverty and gun ownership. I think those were two questions. So for gun ownership, I want to also have laws so that we can show how private citizens can obtain a legal weapon to protect themselves. As far as poverty is concerned, we want to make sure that there are situations that are going to be put in place, like mechanism to make sure that farming is done, adequate food comes in, rice growing is important, so that the Liberian people will no longer suffer, but they will be well fed.
What are your plans to boost agricultural activities in Liberia?
I have, for one thing, let me say this up first, that the insecurity of food contributes to an unstable society. So therefore, we want to stabilize society by producing food for a well-fed society and a nation. Therefore, we have to put mechanism in place so that the rice area will be developed. Other different types of crops can be developed so that we can be able to sell some of these things or bring more money into the country and have the people fed so that they will have to starve no longer.
Your party is a proposed one. What's the status now at the National Elections Commission?
Our proposed party is one in which hasn't yet been certificated. We're in the process, and we're about to, we hope and pray that we're at the place where we can now become certificated. But I want to point out that the National Election Commission has done a tremendous job in making sure that their responsibilities have been met. Because in every country, the people look up to those who are responsible for elections, and they want to make sure that they do a well and satisfactory job. I hope they will continue to do that.
Are you really a wealthy or rich person as being insinuated in the public?
I want to say that everyone is a rich person endowed by God to live on earth. But some of us just happen to be blessed to work a little bit harder than others. No, I live a very good life. I thank God for the kind of lifestyle that I live. However, is that I'm not here to impose my lifestyle on anyone. But what I would like to do, since I have lived a tremendous and prosperous lifestyle.
A millionaire what?
I'm not a millionaire.
Okay.
I would like for each person to be able to enjoy life.
The reason I ask this question is because as journalists, we are concerned about the source of wealth of some of those contesting the highest office in Liberia. So what's the source of your wealth?
Well, I have a lot of property, but that doesn't mean that I'm a millionaire. We have a lot of property in various areas, in Kingsville area, Mount Barclay, Harrisburg, Mount Coffee, you know. So there are lots of properties that we own. Many of them, and the squatters are on them, but as soon as the squatter laws are effective and people can come to terms with the fact that, okay, we're sitting on someone else's property, when those disputes have been resolved.
Are you thinking about taking them to court to have them evicted? Those squatting on your
the law
properties?
says that you can, but it is a process that you have to go through. And so we are going through those various processes to make sure those things happen.
You want to be Liberia's next president. What do you think the Coalition for Democratic Change-led government of President George Malewia does not deserve a second term?
Everyone deserves a second term.
So what are you contesting?
Well, because everyone has the right to contest.
So you just want to contest, you don't want to become victorious? Or?
Everyone wants to be victorious, but only one president at a time. No, I think Mr. George Weah has aspired to the highest nation of the land, and that is a desire that he has done. And I would say that if I'm in a position where I feel that I have not done well for the nation, I would be the first person to say, you know, all the things that I wanted to do, I could not. And so let me give other people the chance to do what they can for the betterment of the nation, not just for myself. So anyone in that position and knows that if you haven't done all of the things that you wanted to do and you have fallen short, perhaps it is time to say, let's fold 10 and let someone else come in. There's no shame to it. Everyone that reaches the position of president in Liberia has attained a goal, and that's a compliment for anyone.
Dr. Ammons, I would like to have a clear answer to this. Do you think that the government is adequately performing to deserve a second term, or do you think the government has dismally performed to be giving a second term?
The Liberian people will speak. They will determine whether they have been given a fair shake or not. So when the Liberian people have spoken, if they want anyone to be president, that is the prerogative of Liberian people. For me to pass judgment on anyone or any government at this time, which is going to be the same with me, I would be wrong. But the government itself that is in power, knowing full well that if they have not performed the right way, can say, you know, we did all we could, it is time for us to full tent and move on.
Are you willing to form a merger, a collaboration with any other political parties, or are you willing to come second to anyone?
I don't want to run to become second to anyone. I'm running to be president, not a dog catcher. And so therefore what happens is this, is that if I get to the point where someone says that we did not come in full circle and we're falling short, at that particular time, then it is a time for collaboration. At this time, it is too premature to speculate whether or not collaboration is the thing to do at this particular time.
Do you see any opposition politician as like Malewia as compared to you?
I don't think that anyone who is in the ruling party is an opposition. And the reason why I say that, I'm not an opposition to the government or any other party. I am in content for the presidency. It's a job given to the Liberian people that anyone who wishes to run for that office has the ability to do so, must do so. But the fact of the matter is this, is that when you have ascended that office and you have not done what you should do, including myself, then we must say and be honest with ourselves, it is time to full tent.
Since your return to Liberia, have you met with President George Malewia?
Well, I would have loved to meet with him because I brought at one time a gift for him to electrify Liberia, but unfortunately I was unable to. That doesn't mean that if he asked me to meet with him that I would turn down the invitation. No, I think we all should be collaborators in the interest of the Liberian people, win or lose. And furthermore is that win or lose, if President George Malewia wins the second time, I would take off my hat and shake his hands and say congratulations. I hope he will do the same thing for me or anyone else that wins and take off his hat and shake that person's hands and move on. We are all Liberians. We don't need to be fighting each other for a position that all of us must enjoy at one time or another to prove that we can do better together.
If you're opportune to meet with President George Malewia today, what are some of those suggestions or recommendations that you will proffer for the betterment of Liberia and its citizens?
The first thing I would say to him, congratulations, you have ascended the highest office of the land. I know it was not easy. The second thing I would say, my man, let's go ahead and put this country back on the map and let's develop electricity for everyone to enjoy.
Right, is there anything further you'd like to say that I didn't ask just before we close the interview?
I would like to say thank you very much for asking all those wonderful, wonderful questions that you asked. And I want to give the Liberian people credit for being the type of a persons that they are, so that they can be, in fact, ready to receive all of the things that are supposed to be coming to them. We thank God for the fact that there is time to change, to fix things so that it will be better for the Liberian people.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Ammons. It was nice meeting you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jackson.
This I would like to come as this live interview with Dr. Telford Ammons. He's the political leader and vision bearer of the proposed Greater Action Party of Liberia. My name is Dr. Telver Evans. Thanks to you for watching.